Jabroni, Jabronixyz, oh, it doesn't matter, you spell jabroni.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Two Jabronis with a Wrestling Podcast. BJ Cruz here with my tag team partner, the bus driver of Kenny Omega and Don Callis' bus, the incomparable Jeremy Loss. Jay, what is up, my dude?
I'm getting paid so much money on the side hustle, just taking them back and forth from Impact to AEW. It's changing my life.
We're getting like 2 cents a mile. Is that
something like that?
Yeah, between Nashville and Florida. It's a good rate. It's a good rate. You should definitely keep that. I don't know if I think we get paid more on the podcast side, but what do I know? I'm just doing math.
Not gonna quit my day job.
Yeah. I'm just doing math. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you download your podcast. And if you're one of our fantastic Apple Podcast users, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you're feeling spicy, leave a review. And our Spotify people, hit us with that follow so you can help us climb those Spotify charts.
And make sure that you subscribe and like and do all that good stuff on our YouTube channel, Two Jabronis with a Wrestling Podcast. So you can see Ben drinking a gigantic glass of wine. You can see me poking myself in the eye with my glasses. So that's the kind of content you get on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on social on Twitter and on Instagram at Two Jabronis Pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeremy A. Lawson. You can follow Ben at Cruise Control. That's Control with a K.
All right. So there's obviously a lot has happened in the wrestling world. I was actually on the Impact media call today with Don Callis, which was him cutting promos. So it was he was in kayfabe mode, which was a little surprising given it was a media call, but he was still, he was still gracious with his time. He did his thing, and that's the most compelling storyline in wrestling today, which we'll talk about a little bit with our special guest for today. But so we just talked to our guest, and it was a phenomenal chat just on everything wrestling, and we want to highlight that because again, it's just a great talk with one of the great NBA minds in the game today, but also just an elite wrestling mind, and that's why we had him on the show today. That being said, just a couple programming notes. With TLC being this Sunday, I think Jay and I we're gonna fire up a snacker episode. We're gonna, right after TLC, we'll fire up the mics and we'll talk a little TLC. We'll talk a little Impact, Kenny Omega, and it's gonna be good times. But please, in the meantime, you're gonna enjoy this chat that we have with our special guest, I will introduce a little bit later. In the meantime, we're gonna pay these bills because we absolutely need to keep this podcast
I need
going.
to send my kids to college, so we need to pay these bills. So let's take a moment and listen to hear from our friends over at BetOnline. Football is back in full swing. You might not be at a game this year, but you can still be in on the action at BetOnline. BetOnline is going the extra mile to make sure you can get in on every possible chance to win this season. From game spreads and totals to team, player, and coaching props, BetOnline gives you more options to wager than anywhere else. You can get on their season opening bonuses today and start off wagering on wins, division, and championship futures all day, every day. Head to BetOnline today and take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. Don't forget to use promo code BlueWire at betonline.ag. That's BlueWire, all one word. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. I always get tripped up at that very last line.
Experts is a tough word.
I hate it.
Experts is a tough word.
It's like the sports book experts. It's like just the way that it kind of enunciates.
It's a tough string of words. I don't blame you. But with that, let's take another break to talk about our friends over at Indeed. 2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed is the #1 job site in the world with more total visits than any other job site, according to ComScore. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need. You can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that you can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering our listeners a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Try Indeed out with a free $75 credit at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. This is their best offer available anywhere. Go right now to Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. All right, and before we introduce our special guest for tonight, a reminder that we are now also doing a Patreon exclusive show, a career retrospective on the great one, our Lord and Savior, the man who was introduced tequila and Terramana so much into my veins that my wife is concerned. We have named this second show of the week on Patreon the Rock and Talk Connection, with our buddies over at Fight Game Media, with our boy Double G, who's also part of the Blue Wire Network, a Blue Wire brethren, if you will. Go check our shows out over there. We have a show coming out this Friday talking about The Rock's return from injury and his heel turn, which really, really shapes who The Rock becomes, who we love him for. We are really, really excited to talk about that. We've probably had too much fun doing this show. To be honest, we'll be like, hey, let's do, in our text messages, we're like, hey, yeah, we'll do 20 minutes on The Rock. And then like an hour later, we've talked about the segment that we're talking about. So the first 2 episodes are out now on our Patreon. There's different tiers to listen to us. $5 a month gets you our show, our extra show, the Fight Game Media extra show. But there's a lot of different tiers. There's a lot of great content on there. You're going to want to check that out. The link is in the show description, so go check that out. It's been a lot of fun. But
we may have a classic guest.
Oh,
we may be bringing back an old favorite.
We have a friend of the show joining us tomorrow, and it's going to be incredible because longtime listeners of the show, I'm just going to say it, Adam Knopflet, big friend of the show, probably the best friend of the show, not to be confused with the best friends in Orange Cassidy. He will be on the show to talk about The Rock's heel turn, and he is excited. And he's going to cut tomorrow's promo. So those of you who are very familiar with Knopf's rants,
I'm scared.
It's going to be a live version of it, and I don't know if Jeremy and I are ready for it because every time a recorded Knopf rant hits our text messages, both of us collectively lose our minds. It's going to be phenomenal. Go check that out. The link, again, is in our description. All right, enough chit-chat. We have an incredible guest lined up for today, and it is now time to stick to wrestling, and this is the main event. And for this week's main event, we have a man whose Twitter cover photo is him covering an NBA game while watching the WWE Network, which is an insanely legendary move, and his pinned tweet on his account from 2017 states that the best $9.99 he spends every month is on the WWE Network. He covers the NBA's Sacramento Kings for The Athletic, and an all-around good dude who's graciously taking his time and preparing for a busy start to the NBA season. He is Jason Jones. Jason, welcome to Two Jabronis with a Wrestling Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good to be talking about something other than basketball.
I figured we get it in early because you got a long season coming ahead, so I wanted to get it out the way. My first quote right off the bat is Kyle Guy hitting the game winner over the Warriors last night. Is that the equivalent of Leon Ruff winning the North American title on NXT a few weeks ago, just super randomly?
Yeah, probably, yeah. And it's the same thing because you can't expect it to happen ever again. And now it's become, it's just, yeah. But I think Leon Ruff has a better chance of winning the title again before Kyle Guy hits a game winner in a regular season game.
That's a bold prediction, but I like it.
Leon Ruff kicks ass, man. His match tonight was great.
He was
I agree. It was. Yeah.
He was good tonight. Jason, the first question we always like to start with, actual question, not facetious ones, is we want your wrestling fan origin story. Like, why is it that you love this thing? Why are you wearing a Roman Reigns t-shirt right now? Like, why are you so engulfed in this world that Jeremy and I are also just in love with and can't get rid of?
Okay, I'll start with the Roman Reigns shirt. For years, I've been saying, stop trying to make this guy a face. Stop. Just stop.
Yep.
Everyone liked him at the Shield because he was a heel.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you tried to make him into this sympathetic guy. And, the closest they got to it was when he lost, when Sheamus cashes in Money in the Bank in 5 minutes on him. That was like, you finally got it. Then they just dropped it. So I love this version of Roman. I love this like jerk,
Yep.
I'm going to bully my cousin Roman Reigns. So I love it. So this is the first time I actually bought a Roman Reigns shirt just because of that. So, but my wrestling story, I was a kid. Like really, first time I watched wrestling, I had to be like 5 or 6. I was at home sick on a Sunday. My mom just put something on TV and it was ended up being wrestling. And I just was like, enthralled from that moment on, and I decided by age 7 I was going to be a pro football player or Magic Johnson / wrestler. I was going to be the first person to ever do both at the same time.
It's still not too late, by the way.
Well, yeah, the wrestling thing might be able to happen one day, So it just started with that, and then it just continued, and then I go to college, and the Monday Night Wars are going on, and I'm trying to go downstairs and take over the TV in the main like social room.
Yeah.
And by the end of the year, I've converted a bunch of people so they were getting the TV for me. So and by my sophomore, junior year, that's the whole Attitude Era. We would be piled in someone's like dorm room, everyone watching every week. So, it just kind of just kept happening. And every stop I've had covering it, whether it be NFL or NBA, I ended up meeting a couple of players who were fans. With the Raiders, it was Lamont Jordan, who was like a big it was the most random thing I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So, that's how we started getting along, and it just kind of just grew, and here I still am.
Who's your all-time favorite? Like, who's the guy that really like roped you in, or that you kind of stand for?
Let me see. Who's that? See, it's easy to say, The Rock, whatever. I got 2 guys.
Okay.
CM Punk and Rob Van Dam.
Oh,
those good picks.
Those are.
The first time I saw Rob Van Dam, I was in high school, and this was an ECW, came on like at 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I like figured I'm going to stay up, and I played high school football, so it was like after the game I was up, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's cool.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like 16. I didn't even know what 420 really meant, but I just knew RVD was cool. And then, then that kind of evolved, and CM Punk, I just became, I don't know how it happened. It's just that the more I watched him and followed the character, it's like I was really like the biggest CM Punk fan I knew. And I just, I loved all his promos. I love the fact that he didn't look like somebody who, was, chiseled out of granite in the gym.
Yeah.
And, like I said, he might have, to me, he's maybe top 3 all time in promos.
Yeah.
I mean, he has some legendary promos, and just, those are my 2 guys. I mean, and I love, Rock, Stone Cold, all those guys. But if I go with like my 2, those would be the 2.
Do you think Punk ever comes back to the ring?
I don't know. I mean, it's almost like his mystique is better if he doesn't come back.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I would love for him to come back. I mean, the whole MMA thing didn't exactly work out, and I think when he was, doing the show on Fox, that was kind of like a little step in the right direction. It wouldn't shock me if he showed up one day on AEW or something, just something random. But I would love that. I mean, I think the way they did him at the end of his run, where he's destroying everything, and all of a sudden we're going to make you job to The Rock now.
Yeah.
And this is like, I was like, but I expect it from the big company, but it still didn't make it any more easy to deal with because I was just like, this is the hottest guy right now,
Yeah.
and now you're just gonna make him look like a coward, and I didn't like the way they did him when it came to that, but I would love for him to show up somewhere.
Yeah, I think he's
See,
having he's oh sorry,
that's
go ahead.
eerily familiar what they're trying to do with Roman and Goldberg right now.
Yeah, they're trying to force it on us.
I know, and I know that you had tweeted out like asking if people wanted to see that match. Ben and I are in agreement here. We absolutely do not want to see that match. I think it's just god awful.
Yeah.
But like, are you somebody that could be into this match? Like, I hope not.
I'm not. I mean,
Thank God.
I don't want to watch a match where Roman has to carry Goldberg.
Yeah, it would be terrible.
I just don't want to watch that. And I mean, it's it's a cool little, I think, cool little story when he shows up, but you got to do it the right way. There's no reason for him to show up and be in a title match. There's no reason. That's just my preference. I thought his last appearance where you have, the Fiend is hot.
Yeah.
And you have him basically beat the Fiend in 2 minutes. A guy who hasn't been around in years, who's like 50-something. Come on.
Ruined him for months. I mean, they had to go back and like rehabilitate the Fiend character for it to get back to where it is now. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of talent. They have so many other guys on the roster that they can utilize in that position. Big E being like the person I would love to see go against Roman, and they're going to give it to Goldberg for no good reason other than
I mean, you can bring Goldberg back and have him do something else. I mean, he doesn't have to be in the main event of your biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know who tells Vince that that's what we want to see.
It could be like him panicking because I would imagine that their option A for this WrestleMania, if everything was going well in the world, would have been Roman Rock. And now there's like, we got to get another option here. And I guess Vince just panics and goes with Goldberg for whatever reason.
Where I read is Vince wants to save that for somewhere he can maximize ticket sales. And, why would you do that if you can't have a capacity crowd? Yeah, right. I get all that. But so why would you use Goldberg in that spot then? Yeah. I just think there's so many different ways you could go that would be more compelling, that people would be interested in.
I mean, right now is the time for you to try new things. Like, you have no crowd. Like, you can try to see if you can bring a Big E up there and see what he's got in the main event spot. Like, I love what they're doing with Drew and giving him a lot of different challengers. So like, it just doesn't make sense that they would just automatically go with Goldberg when they have the opportunity to do a lot of really interesting things with no crowd. Like, this is your chance to shine. Like, this is your chance to
just let guys do what they do and just see what happens. And I mean, you could use AJ Styles and something. I mean, you have guys there you can use who are really good, who are in the flow of everything. I mean, I'd almost rather see Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns.
That'd be really good.
That'd be nice.
I mean, I mean, give us something that we haven't seen that can be somehow a compelling story. Just don't throw, hey, here's a guy you guys haven't seen since he lost a year ago. He's back and he's in he's getting a title match. Save that for when you go back to Saudi Arabia. I mean, Goldberg almost killed the Undertaker over there. I mean,
oh God.
I mean, I just don't see. You're bringing someone who hasn't been working. Of course, something bad could happen.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I could come up with 10 guys I'd rather see Roman, in the main event against, and none of them would be Bill Goldberg.
See, I love like the passion that you just kind of have in that answer, because like that's kind of the litmus test. We were testing you. We're like, if he's pro Goldberg, we got to cut this interview short. But so I've always felt that there was a connection of sorts and a direct correlation between being a hoops fan and a wrestling fan. I obviously follow a lot of wrestling people on Twitter, but also a lot of NBA people. It's my favorite sport. I used to, kind of dabble in working in the sport and in the industry as well. And what I've noticed is that there's a lot of crossover between like NBA and WWE fan bases. To further prove that point, a few months ago we had from The Athletic, Dave Dufour on to talk wrestling. He used to be a wrestler, which was incredible to find out in that interview and kind of like researching for that interview. And my theory is this: like, as fun as it is and awesome as it is to watch beautiful basketball, like pin down screen, back screens, all this stuff that just makes beautiful offense flow and a 5-star match. I think what really keeps us going is like the storytelling in WWE and the drama that comes with like free agency in the NBA and like the stuff with James Harden. This is all people have been talking about all preseason. Like there's actually been games going on. Where's James Harden? What was he in Atlanta for? What was he in Vegas for? All this stuff. And I feel like there's this crossing of worlds where it's just so similar. Is there anything to this theory or am I reaching? I genuinely want to know from like both of you guys.
I see it just because you look at, the whole Kevin Durant to the Warriors, that's like an NWO move.
Right.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
They just beat me. And what do you do? Oh, no, here he is. He joined the super, So to me, there's so many different things, where you could see the parallels. And then you start talking to these guys and they're into it too. And going as far back as 2004 when the Pistons won the title and they come out for their ring ceremony with the belt.
The belt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's storytelling, and basketball with the off season and everything probably has some of the best storytelling and the best drama of any of the sports. I mean, a lot of times with football, you don't see stars moving.
Right.
Usually in football, you're going to keep your main guys. And if a guy leaves, it's because you figure, you can replace them. But, basketball and wrestling, you see the same thing. You see things where guys are just saying, you know what? I'm going to do something that you didn't expect. And every off season, there's something that happens where you say, I didn't expect that to happen. Wow, what was that? And that's what I love. I love the whole idea that you don't know what's going to happen. And for me, just you see a great match. It is like watching a great offense because it just, see guys work in tandem and it just keeps you engaged and you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? And you're like, even if you say, okay, I know what's going to happen. Like if I say, I bet Steph is going to shoot a 3 on this one. But still when he does it, you're like, wow.
Right.
And I can see a high spot in wrestling and go, I said, that table's there for a reason. But still when it happens, you're like, so it's to me, yeah.
Yeah.
So I get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I love the storytelling. Like the storylines that you get out of NBA offseason are just, I mean, top notch. Everything with James Harden right now. I shot Ben a text earlier today of a meme. It was like James Harden in Houston, and it was Mark Henry wearing a James Harden jersey.
James.
It's by the way, I appreciate you using the Kevin Durant NWO to the Warriors example.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll take that all day. I love it.
Yeah. To me, but I think maybe LeBron was Sting. Then LeBron's in the rafters going, I see you guys.
Yeah.
Then like Russell Westbrook would be like the Macho Man was back then. Where every week I'm like, are you guys going to beat up the Macho Man again?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, let's stop beating up Randy Savage, please.
See, I think this is a future athletic article for you. Just keep comparing current NBA stars to like WWE stars. That might be your most read article ever.
I did write a story. Was it back in May when they were talking about playing in empty arenas? I interviewed Sean Spears about what's it like to wrestle in an empty building. About not having that energy from the fans, and you create your own energy. And everyone was like, that's a different kind of story idea. I'm like, well, they're actually doing it. And in my mind, I'm thinking wrestlers, basketball players, both feed off crowd energy.
Yep.
And in some ways, I think it's even harder in wrestling to do that because it's just like you're doing everything. It's like, well, what's going on? And he kind of made the parallel that, hey, when you're training, you never have anyone around.
Right.
So you kind of just, and you kind of say you find an opportunity. And for him, he said the opportunity was when they put wrestlers to be the crowd. What can you do to, get attention? That's why I love the fact that eventually AEW gave him a push, and now he's, gone from being a guy in the crowd to, getting over as a heel and got the whole loaded glove, that old school story. Yep. And, so I like I said, I'm probably the biggest wrestling nerd I know in the NBA. People probably still, people tech to tease me about it. I'm like, yes, so what? And then the whole Undertaker streak, when the streak ended,
Yeah.
And I'm blanking on my man's name, but everyone thought that was me at WrestleMania. Ellis, yeah, man. And we've had these Twitter exchanges where he goes, that wasn't me, that was you. And people, to this day, people swear I was at WrestleMania.
Wow.
Because at that point, if you saw me at that point, because the Kings had a game that day. So I wasn't there.
You had an alibi.
I had a streak for like 4 years in a row that wherever WrestleMania was, the Kings would get there right before.
Oh, wow.
And then leave.
Yeah.
Like on Thursday, so I'd always miss it.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
And so when it happened, I started getting these texts like, dude, why are you at WrestleMania? I'm like, I'm not. And they send me the picture. I go, oh my God, it does look like me.
Wow.
I'm like, it's really not me.
Oh my God.
So every now and then, even my friends on Facebook, they'll be like, whatever, we know where you were a few years ago. And they'll show that. I'm like, I was not there. So there's people who still believe when the streak ended, I was there.
That
and
is
if you
incredible.
get around to, I can tell you the funny story about my cover photo on Twitter.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. This must have been the 2017 or 20. I forget which NBA final. The Warriors are just probably was 2018. The Warriors are destroying. No, it was 17. 17. I'm pretty sure 17, 18, whatever. But the Warriors are destroying the Cavs in this game. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to check out this Austin Aries Neville match. I'm like,
I thought it looked 205 live. I was like, is that purple ropes?
Yeah, I was like, it was like the cruiserweight title match on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this game is trash. The Warriors are going to win by 30 or whatever. So I'm like, all right, put my headphones on. I'm just like, because at this point, I'm waiting for the game to end so I could write something.
Right.
Try to go get a good angle. And I don't know who the guy was, but he's sitting behind me. And he took a picture of me, and then he tweeted it and basically said, take this guy's credential. Look at what he's doing instead of watching the game.
Wow.
And then what made it so funny was wrestling Twitter turned on him.
As they should have. They got to protect one of their own.
They just attacked his mentions, and someone tweeted, was like, well, who is this guy? I'm like, that's me. And they're like, oh, you went after it. And so the guy messaged me and apologized. And he's like, I didn't mean, he's like, I'll take you out. I'm like, dude, I don't need you to take me out for lunch or anything. It's okay. So he was like, I was trying to be funny. But wrestling Twitter turned on him so bad. And then Matt Hardy tweeted at me about it. And the pinned tweet was that was Triple H's reply to me.
Oh,
nice.
So Triple H replied to me because I think I tweeted something like, hey, is what I did, was it best for business or something?
Wow.
I said, would the authority agree with this? And then Triple H tweets back at me and said, that's the beauty of the network. You can watch it anywhere during any other event. You, my friend, are best for business. But that's why that's my pinned tweet, and to this day, me and Matt Hardy will have exchanges back and forth about stuff. I think our last one was about how trash the angle of making his brother an alcoholic was.
Right.
So me and he was just saying, hey, I'm just glad I work for, I'm happy where I'm at. Yeah. I just thought it was such a horrible angle. I'm like, is that what we're doing now, guys? We're going to, I'm like, come on, we can do better with Jeff than that.
Yeah, we had similar takes when that was going on the show. We also had some things to say about the way AEW handled Matt Hardy's concussion. What was that, at Double or Nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that was less than ideal, but what storyline across all wrestling has your attention right now? Obviously, the things going on with Kenny Omega and Impact Wrestling seems to be the talk of the town. But is there anything else out there that's just kind of getting your attention, that really sparking your interest? Anything Roman Reigns is kind of doing it for us as well. I'm sure it's doing the same.
Yeah, those are probably the top two right now. I'm trying to think of an angle that's not maybe, the main event that I'm really, into. Let me see. Like I said, those two are definitely. I love the whole cross promotional.
Yeah,
it's it's almost like everyone's like, we're going to gang up and get our ratings up to go against to try to take out Vince's company. But let me see. I'll go to AEW first. What do I like? Celebrity wise, I'm intrigued with what they might do with Shaq and this whole, what they might do with that.
Mm-hmm.
This more just because I know Shaq a little and I like Shaq, but over there, I really, like I said before, Kenny was the guy. That was like just what they were doing with Moxley, and how I love how they transformed him from like the doofus to just to just this kick ass, top level guy. So I like the whole thing they did with Moxley. I do like the Jericho's great, so that's an easy one to say. I like Jericho, but
I mean, the fact that they have Jericho and MJF together right now and doing their thing is interesting to me, because those are their two best. I would say their two best heels outside of Omega, and they're the two best talkers. What do you think about Sting?
That's interesting. But I actually thought about who my favorite guy over there is Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, he's great.
He's on fire.
Yeah,
right now.
I just love the energy, and it's just like this. It's almost like a throwback.
Yeah.
And he's just like a regular guy, but he's in the heat. That little feud he had with Moxley, it felt like it was really personal. He really sold how personal that was. You left us, you went up north, and you got paid, and you left us. You're not one of us anymore. I love that. That was my favorite story of recently, because that felt real. Like, here I am, Eddie Kingston, still down in the minor leagues scraping, and you left me to go hang out with your buddies in Connecticut and get paid. So that would probably be my favorite one over that way. WWE is a little different. I wish they stopped putting Lana through tables. But I mean,
I think they got a big payoff for this one coming up, but yeah.
I actually like the Sasha Banks story right now.
Sasha's killing it.
Yeah, and I'm glad they actually let her hold the title after she won it for more than a match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unconventional.
Yeah, her whole thing leading up with Bayley, now going to this Carmella one. I think that's, she, there's nights where she carries that show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I definitely like what they're doing over there with her.
Sasha and Bayley carried the WWE for months. They were just ruling the show, and I mean, the work that they did, their whole feud leading up to the title change was great. I'm hoping that they run it back at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to see Sasha with that WrestleMania moment where she has the belt. And I've called for them to be the main event. If they were going to sit on it for a long time, I was going to say it's an obvious main event, but now that they're running it back, it's a little bit more questionable. But I wouldn't be mad if they were like, hey, we're going to put Bayley Sasha in the main event at WrestleMania on night one. I'm fine with that.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I love how they use them as the tag team champions, and how they just ran it. They were the stars of that show. They carried them through the early part of the pandemic. Yep. Those two carried them, because that's what I was tuning in to see what are they going to do next.
On all three shows. They were on all three
they were
shows.
everywhere. They show up on NXT.
Yeah.
And the irony of it is NXT probably has top to bottom the best stories of all three, the three brands.
Mm-hmm.
And I just always hope, please don't move this guy to the other roster, and now we got to watch him chase around R-Truth now.
Well, it's like what they're doing with Keith Lee. There was a report coming out that they said that Vince sent Keith Lee back to the Performance Center to fine tune his skills. I'm like, of all the people to send back to the Performance Center, you send Keith Lee back. Because amazing.
Because you don't like his gut. You're the only person concerned with that. And then they tried those horrible outfits on him. I was like, what is he wearing? I'm like, are those torn up shorts? I'm like, what do they have him wearing now? Is he wearing a compression shirt? I'm like, he's still 300 and whatever he is pounds. You're not going to hide that. And he got over not wearing, and of all the things you want to focus on is we got to cover up his body. I'm like, this is it's typical WWE. What can we do to screw over all the momentum this guy has?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's put him in like a weird kilt.
And give him just generic music after everybody loved his original music, and they would have a moment where they sing with him. So it's just
right.
It didn't make any sense.
Not at all.
Not at all. So you mentioned Shaq earlier, and he's obviously had his little dabbles with WWE, AEW. More recently, who in the NBA reminds you of a pro wrestler, or you think could actually make that transition? Because I know Enes Kanter is a former 24/7 champion. I don't know if he would. I don't know if he translates. He seems a little clumsy, a little uncoordinated in the ring. He's a big dude, so that might
Yeah.
play. But
That's
who out there do you think could actually be in the ring and be a legitimate WWE or AEW or just a professional
I'm
wrestler?
just trying to think in terms of size, athleticism, personality.
Yeah, you kind of need
You
that.
gotta have the whole package with it to make it work. So I'm trying to go through my head like who could be like high level guys. No, who might be able to pull it off? Jimmy Butler.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
little coffee maker gimmick.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking who has a personality
Yeah,
to where
I like this.
I think Jimmy Butler could pull it off. I mean, LeBron has the look. I don't know. Maybe I have to see Space Jam first to get an idea.
Right.
But
LeBron's great in Trainwreck.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. Good point. So I think LeBron. I think Jimmy could pull it off. See, there's some guys I think maybe because they're funny, maybe they could pull it off. See. I'm surprised J.R. Smith has never made an appearance, especially after his whole little viral video of beating the guy up trying to steal his car, break his car.
Oh yeah, that.
He could.
And he's always he's always shirtless anyway. So
right, yeah. and the thing is too is even though he's skinny, Kevin Durant has the right level of pettiness on social media.
Oh, this is excellent. I like where you're going.
To where I could, he would be, he'd be perfect. I mean, there's a lot, I'm trying to think about it. There's a lot. I mean, a lot of guys, I mean, I don't know. Maybe a Steven Adams.
Oh, little foreign character. I like this.
Yeah, this kind of just this, he kind of has that regal Drew McIntyre, like I'm not from America, but I'm just this, I guess Zion looks the part.
Oh, Zion would actually be incredible. I was thinking Russell Westbrook.
I thought about that. Yeah,
he just seems like he would cut a good promo against someone else, like that. He's just gonna kick their ass. I don't know if he could. I don't know if he'd be a good face, but I think Russ would be a fantastic heel.
Pat Beverly would be a really good chicken shit heel.
Pat Beverly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, or they would hate him on sight. It'd just be like, oh, here we go with this guy again.
Good manager too. He could be a great manager. I don't know if he is a in-ring wherewithal to be that good, but he definitely.
Yeah, I just try to think of guys who could be antagonizers. DeMarcus Cousins, he could be a wrestler.
He's got could have a great wrestling name. I think Boogie could play. You could put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, he could have the. And thing is about him, because I know him, he could be a heel or a face because he has this real nice side to him. And then you have the fierce side. So you could turn him.
Oh, I like this.
And then one day, he's hitting you with a chair, then he's saving someone the next week.
You're thinking through this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few guys. And then if you want to look at managers, I think about coaches, George Karl would be perfect. George Karl would be a perfect manager.
Yeah, he
because he's snarky. He says things. He pisses people off. Players. He has players that love him, players who hate him, and he just has no filter.
Yeah,
I could really see him pulling off the whole role of the manager.
I was also thinking Stan Van Gundy. I think he just has the facial expressions for it. Just he's so emotive. And he could be like a Paul Heyman, who I think that's one of his more underrated traits. Is like Heyman's great on the mic, but when you watch him ringside and when he gets worried or when he's feeling arrogant, he's playing it. He doesn't know if the camera's on him, but he always has that facial expression. And that Stan Van Gundy he's always wearing his emotions on a sleeve. So I
thought Jeff would be the better option because Jeff's willing to go out on the floor and grab people's feet to hold on to them.
Jeff would be good too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know that you mentioned earlier that you've obviously seen some NBA players that are fans of wrestling, and we're all very aware that Dame is a huge wrestling fan. I mean, he shows up to the arena wearing the Stone Cold mask, and he's got the Ric Flair colorway. But are there any other NBA players that are maybe just kind of flying under the radar as wrestling fans and people that may not know that are huge wrestling fans?
I'll give you one guy that you would never think about. Because he's not a player. He's an assistant coach. He was with the Rock, Elston Turner.
Wow.
Yeah, former Kings assistant. Yeah, he's a big wrestling guy because, because I mean, I would go to the shows and you never know who you. I'm like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, Elton loves this. And
Wow.
then when I started covering the Kings, the two guys who were the biggest fans were Spencer Hawes and John Brockman.
Interesting.
Like
Spencer Hawes checks. Spencer Hawes definitely checks.
Yeah, because like that was years ago. They had the I forgot which paper, but it might have been No Mercy pay-per-view in Sacramento, and I wore a shirt to practice. And they're like, "Hey, dude, did you get to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Wow." And so yeah, it was like completely out of the blue that they were like, wow. And then the Kings would do like promotions, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's Chris Masters." So I've got a picture with Chris Masters, and he's looking all buff, and I'm looking like me. And then last year, Apollo Crews and Mojo Rawley were at the arena.
Was that for like pre Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, they were promoting something. Yeah, then they tried to get me. I couldn't make it. They had the Fiend for a promotion. I just couldn't get there.
Oh, didn't he do morning TV out there in Sacramento?
I just couldn't make it. I just couldn't make it up there for it. Yeah, but yeah, Elston Turner, Brockman, and Spencer were like the two big ones that I knew who were like huge fans. And then I shout out my man. He works for the Warriors now, Daryl Arata.
Okay.
He's in the PR department. Yeah, that's how me and him became so cool, just because he's a big wrestling fan too. And back then, before there was the network, he would like order the pay-per-views and like burn the DVDs for me.
Wow.
While we were at games, and I would come home and I'm watching WrestleMania at home.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. I mean, I've talked about this before. Like when you find a wrestling fan in the wild that you wouldn't expect, like your eyes just kind of light up. Like at any time anyone's ever, like I have an NWO pop socket on my phone, and sometimes I was be out at the store, like using my phone to look up something, and then someone who works there will be like, "You like the NWO?" And then immediately, like I'm like best friends with this person. You know what I mean?
It's almost this thing where you have this other set of people who like to go, "Hey, it's not real." I'm like, I never said it was. Calm down.
I hate those people.
Yeah. Oh, you watch?
I want to throw hands at those people.
And I'm like, you watch a lot of stuff I don't like.
Right. Yeah, like
it's like, well, you can't. You're not going to shame me. I'm 42 at this point. I know what I'm watching.
Right. Yeah.
Leave me alone with it. I mean, for me, it's become great because like my oldest son, he's 12. He's into it now.
There we go. He
wants to talk about it every day.
Oh,
I'm even like, man, I don't know. And he's got, because I mean, I had all these old things. Like I had these old inflatable John Cena hands. I had like old Daniel Bryan yes hand. I was going to throw. I mean, like this stuff is 10 years old. He finds it. He's like, oh wow.
Damn,
like all my old wrestling stuff. I'm like, so it's like I can just like now I'm like passing it on to him.
That's amazing.
And, so yeah, it's pretty cool because like I said, I got this weird cross section of followers on Twitter. It's like basketball people, and then I have this wrestling sect. Whenever I mention wrestling, they jump in there, and like I just saw my thing this week. I don't know if it's actually John Cena, but John Cena's account now follows me.
Oh yeah, he follows me too. He doesn't really tweet though. It's weird, right?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is actually. I don't know who it is, but it's kind of cool that this says John Cena follows you.
Oh, that's a screenshot for sure. That's,
yeah. So
that's all you need.
Said, the guy I interact with the most is Matt. Like I said, I've interacted with most of the Matt Hardy.
Wow, that's not a bad guy to. He's in the middle of like a quiet little heel turn right now. With Private Party, which is nice. Yeah, and
I met Becky Lynch and Lana at JFK Airport one year.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got a picture. It's on my Facebook page, my little work. Yeah, and I was like, they look familiar. And Becky has the
she can't
hair.
Hide. She can't hide. Yeah.
Yeah, Lana didn't have makeup and everything on, so I didn't really know that was her at first.
Yeah.
And I'm about 6'2", so it always throws me off because I'm taller than people.
Yeah.
I forget that I'm a little taller than average. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, can I get a picture? So I got a picture of me with Lana and Becky Lynch. And then, I think at least Becky might still follow me on Twitter. But yeah, I was
Whoa.
Like, wow.
Well, that's huge.
I haven't checked in a while, but I know for a while, Becky, Lana, I want to say, was it Sasha or Charlotte? Like, because I would tweet like, that was a great. I remember a few years ago when it was Sasha and Charlotte were the main event on Raw.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I like tweeted how that was the best main event in years, and they like retweeted my tweet, and I get more excited when wrestlers, reply or retweet me than basketball players.
Oh, I'm with you.
We
on
got an
that,
Alexa
1,000.
Bliss retweet not too long ago. We both
Oh,
flipped out.
It
We
went
were all
crazy.
about it.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm more into that. Oh yeah, and then the street profits follow me.
Oh. Those are Ben's
I-
guys.
I have random exchanges with Angelo Dawkins, is a Laker fan.
He's a huge sports fan. Yeah, he's a Lakers fan.
Yeah,
first
because
and foremost.
he's from Ohio and all. So me and him will go back about the Lakers. So I mean,
Oh,
that's way more fun for me than a player reply. I'm like, okay, yeah, but I know you. I don't know him.
right.
I'm like the street profits follow him. So that's what's cool to me.
The amount of wrestlers that you just name dropped that follow you, I'm so jealous. I was insanely jealous of you coming into this interview, but now is just at an astronomical.
Paul Heyman retweets me, or he'll like my tweet. I'm like, wow, because I went to a show and I had the shirt. I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah. Oh.
And so I mean, I'm all the way invested in. I'm like, I wish WWE would let Paul Heyman do more. But I think them matching him with Roman was so unexpected but so perfect.
Right.
Because
He's playing that role really well too.
Yeah, and if you're gonna sell Roman as a heel, how do you do that? Let's put him with the guy who tried to ruin him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is.
it's been
now
a
I'm gonna
perfect
get
turn.
off of here. I'm gonna go look through and see now which wrestlers follow me again.
Yeah. Just take a screenshot. You can send it to us. We'll tweet it out along with the
I
show.
gotta
link.
go through and see which wrestlers. Like I said, I know Angelo does.
Right. Oh, that's.
Yeah, I think because it happened with Buddy Hield said he wanted all the smoke in the NBA bubble, or the Kings wanted all the smoke.
Oh wow.
So I mentioned them, and that's when they were like started following me because I was like, yeah, kind of like them. He wants the smoke,
Wow.
and that kind of got me on their timelines.
God, I love the Street Profits. Those guys are incredible. Look, we can't let you leave here without at least one NBA question because you have two.
Okay.
You have two hoop heads on this show. Obviously, Jeremy's a Lakers fan. He's still riding high off this championship.
Good stuff, Jeremy.
I'm riding high off of James Wiseman returning to practice. So here's where I am. One, I guess first, how good are the Kings going to be this year? Because they're obviously the Pacific Division rivals of both our squads. And where do you think they're going to finish seeding wise in the West? And two, I thought Halliburton looked really, really solid, at least during last night's game against the Warriors. He was a name that was in the running for at least someone that the Warriors were reportedly looking at. How high are the Kings on this guy, and do you think he's going to end up being like one of the steals in this year's draft?
Okay, I'll start with the first one. I'm not like Mr. Negative, but I call myself Mr. Realistic.
Okay,
And
I like
think
that.
realistically, as things stand, the Kings were in that 12 to 15 range. I don't think they're the worst team in the West, but I don't think they're play-in tournament good. They're kind of in that. If things break right, they could jump into that tournament, and get in there at 10.
Right.
But if they don't, I mean, you're relying on a lot of young guys. It's Marvin Bagley's third year, but in all the purposes, Marvin's only played 75 NBA games. I mean, he played in the preseason game the other night. That was his first time on an NBA court in a game situation since January 20th.
Wow.
So, basically Marvin didn't have a second season.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got them kind of in that range right now, just as far as I got to see a lot more before I bump them out of that. And to me, that's not so bad for them because the 2021 draft is loaded.
Yes.
So
Very good.
if there's a year to be bad, the Warriors kind of had that bad look of they were bad in the year where if they would have been bad a year later, it's like, oh man, we've got everything to pick from.
They got the Wolves pick. Holding that hope.
And that pick should be pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and the second thing is, first off, Tyrese Halliburton's a big wrestling guy too.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I told him I need some wrestling references during, he said he got me. I said, I need something. And apparently Shawn Michaels tweeted at him after he got drafted.
Wow.
And I was like, see, now I'm jealous of him. I'm like, dude, I was watching Shawn Michaels when you were born.
Right. What the hell? Wow.
Which is insane to think. I'm covering guys who were born the year I got out of college.
Wow.
So, but, but yeah, that aside, to me, I thought he's already my favorite rookie just off of that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's rookie of the year, but just by that standard alone.
He would get my vote, rookie of the year, all rookie team.
Yeah.
I might even give him an all NBA vote just from that.
Third team. Let's not get crazy, but yes, all NBA third team, and he's in. Yeah, I'm with you.
So but I think I like him. I like his savvy. My all-time favorite player, Magic Johnson, called him Little Magic. I can't call him Little Magic.
I saw that.
I can't. I'm like, Magic, you're my GOAT. I think you're the greatest ever. I will not call him that.
Yeah.
I will not put that on anyone.
That's
Magic made the finals 9 times in 12 years.
Oof.
And won 5 of them. I'm like, Tyrese isn't even starting yet. So let's chill. But I do like when I watch him, he seems to have a real I like guys when you watch them play, you can tell they just understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's the subtle things. There was the second game in Portland. There's a fast break. He's got, I think it's Buddy on the wing. He gave the ball up at the right moment to get it right back. Yeah. And you see so many guys botch that. They give the ball up too late. And there's a saying the Lakers had, I think during the Shaq Kobe years, they called it Tragic Bronson. Instead of a Magic Johnson fast break, It's a Tragic Bronson. And I would tweet at least once a game, the Kings had a Tragic Bronson break. It's 3-on-1, the ball ends up out of bounds. I'd just be like, what are you guys doing? And I don't see a lot of tragic moments with him because he gets it. He understands his role. You ask him about the playbook. He's like, it's not about the playbook. It's about the concepts and what your coach wants to see in the big picture. And when you understand, I'm like, I know vets who can't talk like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think he's going to be – I don't know if he'll be the entire steal, but I think people are going to look back and ask, how did he get all the way to 12?
Right.
Because, I didn't think he'd be there for the Kings. Everything I'd read, he would be gone by 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him there at 12, the Kings were ecstatic.
Yeah.
It's the reason why they could let Bogdanovich leave. It's like, well, not that he's going to replace Bogdanovich right away, but some of the same things we liked about Bogdanovich in terms of his smarts, his savvy, his shooting, and all that. He has that, and he could potentially be, a very good defender as well.
Yeah.
So, and then we can one day, after all COVID and everything calms down, I can see him in person. We can, talk about some other, talk about what's going on Monday Night Raw. He said he doesn't watch it as religiously as he did before, but I'm gonna fix that. We're gonna make sure he's all the way in.
He can get back in. It's COVID.
Yeah. I told him I'll catch him up.
Give him your network password and get him caught up, and then you guys can start.
The only person that uses my network password right now is my son. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys can start a wrestling podcast on The Athletic. You and
we talk nothing about basketball.
Nothing, and it would be incredible. That's a free idea. You can have that one. Jason, thank you so much for hopping on, man. That was way too much fun. Just wanted to throw it to you. Tell the people what you got going on, where they can find you on socials. Give them all that info.
Okay, yeah. On Twitter, Mr._Jason Jones. I'm the guy with Shaq in the profile picture and the guy who, like as you said, is watching wrestling during an NBA Finals game.
Yes.
And Mr. Jones LBC on Instagram. That's more just, I post my stories. I post a lot of jokes, and my story usually tells you what music I'm listening to. So
there you go.
If you're into that I haven't posted, I haven't listened to any, wrestling music running on my runs lately, but I might do that because I need Edge and Finn Balor can get me through, that last stretch.
Yes. Oh, Edge will have me running through a wall. His theme song.
Yeah, I've been like, oh my God, why am I running so fast? And I've had Edge's music on repeat. I'm like, why? I'm like,
that's dangerous. You gotta.
Yeah. And then Finn Balor, was just. Yeah, we didn't even get into how I feel they just completely disrespected Finn Balor, but that can be part 2 when I come back. I can come back and talk about how they.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Finn Balor.
You got to come back. This was.
Yeah, we got to because I'm still upset with how they did Finn Balor. How he went from the Universal Champion to jobbing.
Yes, absolutely.
But now he's thriving. What he's doing on NXT right now is awesome.
Then they'll ruin it and bring him back and have him lose to R-Truth. for the 24/7 title.
And that's when we will bring you back, because that will happen in like 2 months.
That happens. I'll be ready. I'll be raving and ready to go.
There it is. Jason Jones of The Athletic. Thank you so much for coming on. This was an absolute pleasure. You were freaking awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Anytime, guys.